Gently more than anything. What they did yesterday was they dropped Gently at our house, and they said, would you watch Gently so that we could go out to dinner and so that we could go to the beach together? And so we loved that. We took care of her. Well, Lisa did. Lisa took care of her, and they went out and had a great afternoon and evening together. And sometimes as parents we think the greatest thing we can do for our kids is just to keep them with us all the time. And that's not the truth. The greatest thing you can do for your kids is to love them and to show them you love them by loving your spouse, your husband or your wife, and spending time working on your marriage. And it's okay to find somebody that you trust to watch your kids and spend some time together. So what would these kids say to parents? Mom, I love you. And I want you to make your marriage a priority. I think God's saying the same thing to us. If we want a strong family unit, it begins by a husband and a wife totally and completely loving one another. Let's take a look at the next passage here. In verse 13 it says that this woman selects wool and flax and works with eager hands. She is like the merchant ships bringing her food from afar. She gets up while it is still dark. She provides food for her family and portions for her servant girls. Now don't get mad at this lady, okay? All right, she is awesome, okay? Don't get mad at her. Let's take a look at what she did. She selects wool and flax. In other words, she selects wool to make clothing and flax to make food. She's providing for her family's nutritional needs and clothing and all of this. She is there taking care of her kids and her family. She's doing this with eager hands. It's like she can't wait because she realizes this is her purpose. She's here to make her family successful. And she wants to do this. She's not under compulsion. Nobody's making her. She's eagerly wanting to do these things. In verse 14 it says that she's like a merchant ship bringing her food from afar. Now can you imagine when this was written? They knew nothing about Costco at that time. You know, I think it's a lot more relevant for us today. My wife packs our minivan full of Costco boxes and just piles and piles of food, and she comes home and she's like, will you help me unload this? And I'm like, sure. And I go out there, I'm like, who paid for all this stuff? And she's like, we need it, you know? And it's like 15 pounds of peanut butter. And I'm like, who's going to eat all this, you know? And so we bring all this in, and you know, it's my wife providing for our family and doing this so that we have something to eat, so that we, you know, if it was me, I would have just peanut butter, just jelly, and I can fix spaghetti, so that's all our family would have. But she's like, no, I want our family to eat nutritionally. I want our family, I want my boys to grow up in a way that they will be strong and healthy. And I don't make her do this. I don't say, this is your job, this is beneath me, you're the one that does this. She's like, I want to do this. I eagerly desire to work with my hands and do this to provide for our family. And then in verse 15 it says, she gets up while it is still dark and provides food for her family and portions for her servant girls. And I realize this is not a command of God. You do not have to wake up early before the sun comes up to go do these things. It's not a command, but it's saying the principle here is that this lady gets up to provide for her family. And she's doing everything to make her family a success. From her husband first, and then to her kids, and then to those who are serving her. It says here, her servants. So from these few passages, these few verses, it's obvious that this lady is putting others before herself. And moms, you do a great job at this. This is why men are not mothers. Because men, if we were honest, we put ourselves in front of most everything most of the time. And if it were the case that we had to become the moms, we would struggle in this area. But God has designed women in a way So if these babies could say something to their moms, to encourage them to say, Mom, do this and it will help our family, I think they would say, Mom, I love you, so work hard to make our family a success. She selects wool and flax and works with eager hands. She's like merchant ships bringing her food from afar. She gets up while it is still dark and she provides food for her family and portions for her servants. Then in verse 16 it says, she considers a field and buys it. Out of the earnings she plants a vineyard. She sets about her work vigorously. Her arms are strong for her task. She sees that her trading is profitable, and her lamp does not go out at night. You know, some moms get the first two, where they're like, I want to make my husband their priority. They get number two, where they're really there to make their family successful by providing all of these things we talked about. But moms, what you do not do well is take time for yourself. You need to take some time for yourself. And here in our example, here in our Hebrew poem, we see a lady who has her priorities in order, where she's there to love her husband, to work on that relationship. She's there for her family, to make her family successful in every area. But we also see a lady who does things outside the home. And here the lady actually was working outside of the home. And ladies, if you've ever thought, is it sinful for me to work outside the home? Have you ever thought that? I know a lot of ladies have. And you say, God, what do you want me to do? I see other ladies who are stay-at-home moms. They spend a lot of time with their kids and they do all of these things. God, what do you want me to do? So realize it is not sinful for a woman to work outside the home and earn a paycheck. But here's where it begins to become an area of your life where it could be sinful. If you are not doing the first two things. If your work causes you to not make your husband and your marriage a priority. It could become sinful if you're not doing things that make your family successful. If your business is such that you never spend time with your husband, you never spend time with your kids, and you're always away to the point where you have no relationship with them whatsoever. And you can see that that's not what God designed. That's not who you want to be either. And so as long as we're doing those things where our marriage and our family are priorities, it's okay to work outside the home because you want to make your home and your family successful in God's sight. She considers a field and buys it. Out of her earnings, she plants a vineyard. She sets about her work vigorously. Her arms are strong for her task. She sees that her trading is profitable, and her lamp does not go out at night. I love you, Mom. So be sure to have a life outside of our family. Now, a lot of ladies will take that and say, well, I want to take it to the extreme and go do things that might be harmful to our family. Well, you know that's not right. So don't do those things. And husbands, here's where we make a mistake. Our wife says, hey, I want to go and I want to have a new hobby. And so, like for my wife, on Thursday night, she loves to go to an exercise class. And guys, here's where I'm a big idiot, okay? On some Thursday night, she's like, oh yeah, you know, I'm about to leave for my exercise class. And I'm like, yeah, well, yeah, that's okay, that's great, but we got nothing to eat, you know? And I'm like, you know, I'm pretty busy tonight, so you go ahead, but I got a lot of stuff to do, so you go ahead and you go to your exercise class, that's fine.